the people?
The people are known. In terms of the people who are perpetrating these attacks, the individuals, when I say that they are known, they are coming from somewhere. They were not dropped off a plane and then entered the church and started attacking. They are coming from somewhere. But what causes people not to come forward is that you can't affirm their security.
After the,
before or after.
Witness protection, as it were.
And you see now, exactly what Alamin is saying, the language that we're using has already been adulterated in previous contexts. When you talk about witness protection, a lot of people will think the ICC scenario and how that hasn't worked.
It just means an informer. Basically,
but
who can tell you
in terms
something
of saying, if I were to go to the police today and I were to say that my neighbor three houses down, I've seen a lot of trucks coming in and depositing weaponry. I'm seeing a lot of youth walking in and out. I am not guaranteed, especially if I am from that community and that belief. So if I'm, in the case of Mombasa, if I'm Muslim, living in Majengo, for example, I am not guaranteed that I will not be hauled into the jail cell along with everyone else, or I will not be attacked for having more information. The questions then become, how do you know about what's happening? What is your involvement?
You're arrested and incarcerated.
Yes. So you go along with everyone else as the suspects. And even now they're saying, you know, out of 59 arrested, only 4 or 5 might be charged eventually. But of the 59, of the remaining 54 who might not be charged, they have been aggressively treated in that process. Their rights have been infringed in that process. By the time they're leaving, they're grateful that they're not being charged, but they have a lot of bitterness in how they've been treated in that process.
And the families and communities
let's leave it there, Brian.
Let me take it from there. I give an example of the Masjid Musa raid and the arrest that followed. Massive arrest, you know, in the full glare of the media, very, very brutal handling of the suspects. The term suspects has become very slippery. Even you today, just because of you're talking to me, you can end up being suspect. So, what happened? They took 129 people. They charged 129 people. 125 were formally charged. 4 were in hospitals. We don't know the fate yet. Out of those 125, within weeks, months, that number had been whittled down. It's been brought down to 28. And we're still counting. It's coming down. Amongst those, the 41 minors below the age of 16 years, there are 3 women, the ones released so far, 3 women, and a child, a baby, an infant. Now, the conditions of those people were being monitored by the communities in Mombasa. They were talking about our children. Children who came out, some of them with boils, with injuries, who are maimed up to today. I'm monitoring their situations. And they live within the community. The language that those people have is a very different language from what we would hear in the streets.
Which means, what are we saying? That instead of solving the problem, we are magnifying it.
We are magnified. The magnitude now.
We'll get back to you, Alamin.
And the presence in the mosque, if you can just look at it, most of those children went there to eat because there was free lunch. And from the environment that they come from, there's no lunch at home. So twendeni chakula pale, kuna biryani ya bure. And what do they get?
Truncheons.
And how many weeks in jail, with adults at Shimolatewa? Like treatment in Shimolatewa, no medication, no nothing. Those guys come back bitter in society.
I'm going to get back to you on the principal question I asked, which is who should lead providing a solution to that problem? And then we'll get back to the so-called radicalization. What is it that is exactly happening? But first, let's hear what there's a flood of responses and the participation from the viewers.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. A flood of response here, and we have an unsatisfied lot here. We have Brian says, honestly, let's be honest here. You cannot compare what's happening in Mombasa with Turkana. I come from Western Kenya, which has also got a high unemployment rate. But we don't target mosques or churches to vent our anger, and don't even try to compare this with Mungiki. This is pure terrorism. Okay, that's about it. And then another one here. William from Karatina says, it's worrying to hear these two guys talking like this on air. They're not offering a solution. They're only justifying the terror. Done. Unemployment is all over. It should not be used as an excuse for evil. Okay. Then we have another one here. Somebody said, this is Mwalimu Omai from Kisii County, says, gentlemen, you're simply giving the coast insecurity an academic approach. Okay, stop window dressing serious issues. And then another one here, KDF did a superb job and brought sanity to Somalia, which had suffered for a very long time without government. The problem today is the spillover of the Al-Shabaab and their reorganization inside our country. They're terrorists and they want to be heard. And perhaps the final one here, somebody says here, tell Brian to come out clear and tell us what he means by the long-standing issue. As a person who is doing research, he should be offering recommendations to tackle this problem of terrorism. Al-Amin is moving away from the Kenyan problem. Okay? Let them not scratch the surface, but address this even if it means door-to-door campaign.
I'm telling you, this is serious. This discussion is very, it evokes a lot of passion.
And long, not in the time period that you've given us.
Yes, this needs a whole day. But let me just add on some things that Makazi has said there. In fact, I think the problem is very serious in Mombasa. There's somebody who says there's no security in Mombasa because if you look at Kibokoni, a place called Mudobini, even the police officer who has AK-47 can't get inside there. Drugs are sold. They are also in Kisauni, in a place called Msikitini, 50 meters from the main road where drugs are being sold in broad daylight and so forth. Even parastatal cars are there. I don't know. I hope the police can act on this. But they say also Brian and Kimathi are not serious. The fact is that someone somewhere is trying to create a Central African Republic situation in Kenya. Muslim leaders should restrain their youth, which leads to what I asked you. Who should lead in the effort to contain what is being called radicalization? You said that you're not quite happy with the leadership, Muslim leadership. You think they're doing nothing or very little.
It's not just Muslim leaders who should lead. Leaders, generally,
including political.
Everybody has a role in this. Political leaders, community leaders, opinion, or shapers of all kinds have a role in this. The state has a big role, yeah, as not just as a combatant, because it comes in to combat the problem, but also to offer an environment of dialogue, engagement, and facilitating the resources that are required to address this kind of problem. Dialogue and engagement is critical to addressing this issue. That we must calm down.
So who should be dialoguing with the who? You know, this thing don't go round and round.
When we are saying, when you're talking,
it be the provincial administration, PC Muni, or should it be the governor?
It is Marwa today.
Who? It's all of them.
Who should? It's all of them.
It's all of them.
They have roles to play.
Okay, somebody in fact asked, and Makaburi was on TV the other day saying,
they deserve
solution ya kafiri ni bunduki.
Yes, that's.
Can I make?
How should that be handled, Kimathi?
That is a very extreme statement. Yeah.
Would he not have been arrested?
Now there's a role of the executive there, the executive branch, which controls the security organs. They need to take a role. They talk about the problem of charging people for acerbic statements or hate speech and whatever. It's because it cannot be proven in the court of law. It's not been tested. We are not seeing it. Yes.
So your solution is that people who are, okay, radicalization, you still haven't addressed that issue of radicalization.
I want to make a point on the statement that Makaburi made.
Yes.
And for all the viewers who have come back and said that this is academic, the reason we're looking at long-standing issues is because there's a line. There's a very clear linkage that you can follow.
Yeah.
When we had post-election violence, we created a commission called National Cohesion and Integration Commission that is now completely silent. They were given the mandate to capture and to go the process of hate speech and words of incitement. Right. Today, we have not focused, either empowered or given them teeth to do that. So there is a lacuna in the space where somebody should be addressing or arresting Makaburi for the comment that he publicly made. And when you take him to court, there is that evidence. It's clear he said it. Nobody can argue that that was not a hate speech comment or an inciting statement. So when we say that there are issues that are not, long-standing issues that have not been addressed, that is one of them. So that should have been cut, in fact, should have been cut short at that point for the statement that he made.
Okay.
But our special branch of intelligence, they spend a lot of big budget. What do you think about them?
But it's not accounted for.
Yes.
There's no accountability. We don't know what they spend it on.
Yes.
We know that they are getting a big budget.
Are they in Mombasa?
There.
I even
The answer is yes.
I think a lot of these guys look the other way. Indeed, instead of looking where the problem is or where it could be coming from, they want to look at a problem that they've already set their minds that here is the problem. Let me give you an example of this issue about Masjid Musa, and I still keep coming back to Masjid Musa. The youth in Masjid Musa, as radical, probably as extreme as they may be, are not the same youth who take up guns and hurl grenades. That is something that is well known within the community around there. But the whole thing, you'll continuously hear it framed that it's Masjid Musa, Masjid Musa. Whereas the youth, those guys who have the capacity to take up arms, who have been trained, who have gone out and organize themselves, will never fuse with the Masjid Musa crowd. They will never sit in a mosque to come and discuss those, converse those issues, and the state knows that. But why would we always hear that read intelligence reports that are talking about, and for instance, they talked of me at some stage as being the chief of propaganda for Al-Shabaab. And everybody went out in town saying, oh, Al-Amin is Al-Shabaab and whatever. Whereas there were genuine Al-Shabaab in town. Nobody was looking that direction because we've been focused to look at fellows who've already been hoisted up there. A monster has been created, and we don't want to dig deeper.
This is
critical thinking.
This is deep and long. I'm afraid
it's
our
long.
time is run out. we say we'll go up to 9 o'clock.
We haven't answered the questions from the viewers, which I think are valid
You're not
questions.
even going to be able to answer them. I'm afraid our time is just run out. But I want to give you the final, research, the essence of research is to profile solutions.
Yes.
So I just want you in maybe 2 solutions that you think we need or you would recommend to government. Just trot them out because we don't have time. And Al-Amin as well, just your concluding remarks. Let me start with you, Brian.
I think for me what I'd want to say is, one, we are not underestimating or ignoring that terrorism in this country is real. It is real, it is dangerous, it needs to be addressed. So for whatever statements we've made, that should not be taken away. We are saying there is a problem. But in addressing it, there are other problems that deeper-rooted problems that equally need to be addressed. And if you ignore them, you will keep perpetuating what I now call the revolving conflicts in this country. It will be a revolving conflict. The solutions, and what we do is we collect our information, analyze, and then give solutions. Leadership needs to take its mandate seriously, needs to put its pride aside and agree to meet in forums that are not nice hotels where they're getting 3-course meals, but sit down with a complete dynamic group of people and hash out the issues. And when I say leadership, I mean everything from the Kenya Police to the county government to the national government. Security is a national, was not devolved, so it's a national problem, but it is happening in the county system.
Okay.
All those parties need to
sit down, fresh, put aside pride and the issues.
Don't ignore that this is a community that is active and living and are made up of Kenyans. Don't look at them as Muslims first or terrorists first. They are Kenyans.
Okay. Al-Amin, you're parting short. Final opinion.
Let's have conversations that are thoroughgoing, intra-community and externally. The Muslims have a role. They have to have serious conversations that come up with, programmatic solutions. The rest of society and the interfaith groupings, especially in the coast, like the NCCK and the like, the interfaith bodies, have a role, but they need to cut down the rhetoric. The media, seriously, needs to engage with the issues from not just reporting only, but also come into those forums and engaging in discussions, in conversations, where they will engage with data that can be interrogated by wider forums. Information that can be, is freely available from various institutions of competence. Brian belongs to one. However, no matter what the viewers would want to think that we're intellectualizing the problem. Yeah. But that, the kind of information that is available needs to be interrogated. And from there, we can come up with a framework for action. And it won't take us a month to come down to that if we seriously are keen on addressing the issue.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Brian Kahumbura from the International Crisis Group, a research firm that does research on security issues and so forth. They've been on the ground. Whatever you say, intellectualizing, they're looking at the issues. Hopefully, we'll be hearing from them in a more comprehensive way in the near future. And thank you, Elamin Kimathi, human rights activist, researcher, as well as a campaigner, for joining us this morning. There it is. This week we continue to look at the insecurity in the country, whether you call it terrorism or just ordinary criminal activities. We'll continue to focus on that as we try to find solutions. Keep watching Power Breakfast, and thank you for watching.